Hi there, Genesis owners. Today on your 2021 Genesis GV80, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Curt's Splice wiring ModuLite kit. And this is what our wiring harness looks like when it's installed. It's going to provide you with a four flat trailer connection, which is going to give you all of your necessary lighting signals, which includes your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps, keeping you DOT compliant in all states. This harness, one of my favorite things about it is that it has its own module and its own dedicated power circuit. And the way this works is the module will monitor both your driver and passenger side stop, turn, and tail signals, and it will then reproduce those signals on the 4-pole here. What's nice about it reproducing the signals is if you have any faults on your trailer, rather than causing a fuse or anything to happen with the wiring on your vehicle, you would simply just blow the fuse that's for the module here. You can then repair your trailer, replace the fuse, and you're back up and running once again. Now this harness here is a universal fit harness, so you will want to follow along with us so you can see the appropriate wires in which you would need to splice into to monitor both that left and right side turn, stop, and tail signals. Go ahead and follow along with us now so you can have the confidence to get this done on your Genesis GV80 at home. We'll begin our installation at the back of the vehicle by removing both the driver and passenger side taillight assemblies. With the liftgate open, you'll need to remove the cover located here on the taillight assembly. We'll see here that there's some small notches we can fit our screwdriver in, and just gently pry outward on the cover, just kind of working your way down. There's a notch at the bottom, so if it feels like it's stiff, just move on to the other side. And we can get that popped off of there. That's going to move back out of the way and reveal the screws located inside. There are 2 of them there. We're going to remove these with a 10mm socket. With both the screws removed, we can take our taillight assembly and go straight rearward with it. Once we've got it pushed out, we can see our electrical connector inside right there. We're going to disconnect that by pressing down on the release tab located on top and then just pulling the connector off. We can then set our taillight assembly aside, and we're going to remove the passenger side the same way. We'll then need to expose the wires on each side. So just gently use your razor knife to remove the sheathing so we can access the wires inside. We can now connect our wires to the connector. In your kit, you're going to have your module, and we're over here on the driver's side, so we're going to be using these 4 wires that are together. I did peel them back just a little bit, so that way they're away from each other. The yellow and the brown are the 2 that we're going to be hooking onto the vehicle. We'll use the quick splices that come included in the kit. We're going to take the blue wire with the red stripe here. This is our stop and turn wire. We'll slide it into the slit of our quick splice. And then we'll take the yellow wire, slide that in the other side of the quick splice. I'm just going to flip this around because there's only one opening for the yellow wire. The other side's closed off. And I want them to go face out the same direction, so we'll poke that in there like that. And then we'll just secure it to the wire by squeezing the metal tab with a pair of pliers. You can then fold over the lock tab to keep it in place. We're then going to perform the exact same procedures with the green wire with a black stripe located right next to that one. But this time we're going to be connecting the brown wire to it. That just slides in there. And then we'll squeeze it down, lock it in place. Next we can hook up our ground wire, which is the white wire that comes in your kit. It has a pre-installed ring terminal on it. This wire here you can ground anywhere up in here. We're going to be using the self-tapping screw that comes included with it to get it secure. So I'm just going to peel a little bit more of the white wire back too, just to make sure that it's got plenty of freedom to move around. And we're just going to line it up here, put our self-tapping screw through it, and then just run it into place. we just want it to be tight enough to where we can't move the wire. That way we know it's secure. And then our red wire that comes in our kit, we're going to peel this one back as well. And we're just going to line it up with our white wire here, because this wire also needs to be grounded. So we're just going to place our quick splice over our ground, slide the red wire into the quick splice, and then we'll squeeze these together. We can then take the black wire that comes in our kit and we're going to feed it down until it comes out the bottom. You may need to reach up in here if it gets caught. Just give it a pull. And then we're going to feed all the rest of this black wire down. And then we're going to have just a little bit left here. It's going to reach over to our module. This is going to connect to the black wire that's on the module. So we'll need to strip this back. And then rather than use the butt connectors that come included with the kit, we're going to upgrade to a heat shrink butt connector, since this does live outside the vehicle. We'll then just crimp our black wire here over to the black wire on the module. And then we can use a heat gun to shrink that down. Next, we're going to take the green wire off of our module and the 4-pole flat trailer connector, and we're also going to feed these down through the hole. We'll now peel off the adhesive backing from the double-sided tape that comes in our kit. We're going to apply it to the back of our module. We'll then peel off the other side of the adhesive tape. And then we're going to stick it to the area right down in here. You can see these squares that we're going to attach it to. I've gone ahead and wiped that off with some alcohol swab on a rag. And then we're just going to line it up, press it into place, and you want to hold it there for about 20 to 25 seconds to ensure you get good adhesion. We're now inside the vehicle where we need to remove some components here so we can access our battery as well as a grommet so we can get that power wire fed inside, which was the long black wire that we connected. Go ahead and lift it up on this panel here. Our battery is located underneath this cover here. There's a screw located here and another one located over here that we want to remove. They're very small little screws. And this one here, you'll have to just lift up on the panel slightly. And then we can get this one removed. And then we'll just pull up on the handle here. And then we can set this panel aside. We also want to just pull up this panel located over here. It just pulls straight up. We'll set that one aside as well. We now have access to our battery. And if we look directly in front of our battery towards the front of the vehicle, we can see a grommet located there. We can use this as an access point for our power wire to come in to connect to our battery. So now I'm going to go ahead and route our wires. We're going to put the 4-pole towards the center. The green wire we're going to route over towards the passenger side and then back up into the taillight area so we can make the connection over there. I did kind of just check holding this over. You can see that we're not going to have enough length. So we are going to be using some of the extra black wire that we've got here to extend our green wire to make sure that it can get up in there. And then we're also going to route the black wire over towards that grommet and get it passed through. Once I've got them all routed, I'll show you the path I took to get every wire there. So here you can see our wires. I took the green and our 4-pole and we just routed it across, zip tying it to factory wiring along the way. We made sure we stayed above our exhaust when doing so that way we're not going to touch on that and melt our sheathing and have a potential ground. We did have to extend that green wire. We used some of the black like we talked about, and then we ran it up our compartment. The 4-pole we stopped here right at about the middle of the vehicle, and we can use the dust boot that comes with it to secure it to the hitch. We'll put the dust boot on at the end. It has a little loop that just slides over it. Our black wire we routed towards the front of the vehicle till we hit the harness here. We then zip tied it to that, and then we kind of just go up over the brake lines and go towards the center of the vehicle until we get over towards the grommet that's located just in front of the battery here. We go ahead and zip tie it to that factory harness, so we want to keep this away from our exhaust. and then we just poke it right through the grommet there. I just pulled the grommet out. You can just kind of pull it towards you. You can pull the grommet out. That makes it easier. So you can just kind of poke that wire through, get it fed through, and then just poke the grommet back up in there. Our green wire, we used some of that black to extend it up here. Once we extended it, we used the quick splice, just like on the other side, except this side we connect to the orange wire. We're now inside here, back at our battery. We're going to press it on the tab and lift up on the cover here to expose our battery terminals there. In here you can see our black wire on the other side. It's going to route towards our battery. Before we connect it to our battery though, we need to connect our fuse harness. We'll take our fuse harness here. One side's going to get a ring terminal, and then the other side of our fuse harness is going to get one of the yellow butt connectors from our kit. We're inside the vehicle now, so it's perfectly fine to use the ones that come in your kit, as it's not exposed to the elements in here. Now that we've got that connected, we can take our black wire. I like to leave some excess for future repairs and stuff like that, so we can just poke the excess down right in there. We're then going to strip back the black wire and connect it to the other side of our yellow butt connector. This will then attach to our battery. We're going to remove one of the nuts there with a 10mm socket. We'll then take our ring terminal, slide it right on top, and then reinstall the nut. We can then put our cover back on, grab our fuse harness, and we can insert the fuse. At this point, we're pretty much ready to test everything out. We can go ahead and plug our taillight assemblies back in and then test it. I like to test it before I put all my screws and everything back in case we have to make any adjustments to any of our connections. We can do so more easily than having to rip everything apart. We've gone ahead and plugged in our tester. You could also plug into your trailer, but I do recommend a tester over the trailer because if you have faults on your trailer, it can give you incorrect information that maybe your wiring is not wired correctly. You can get a tester like this here at eTrailer. You want to make sure you have your left turn signal, right turn signal, tail lamps, and brake lamps. With all of our signals working properly, we can just reinstall all of our components in reverse order of how we remove them. So now that everything's working properly and we've got all of our components reinstalled, we can go ahead and take the dust boot that comes in our kit. It just slides over your harness here like this. You want to make sure you have the exposed prong there to where it lines up with the hole there in the dust cover, and that way you can keep out any dirt, debris, and moisture. If you need a bracket, we have 4 pole brackets as well as no drill brackets here, so you can get everything mounted up without having to modify the vehicle. Or you could just slide this right around your safety chain loop on your vehicle and then just put that in place. And this will help keep it up off the road so it won't get damaged. And that completes our installation of Curt's splice wiring ModuLite kit on our 2021 Genesis GV80.